Hi guys, it's Ethan Strange here, and I've just moved into a brand new house. And what better way to warm a brand new house than go on a blind date with a book? So tonight's blind date, I'm going to totally judge this book by its cover, is space opera, science fiction, aliens, murder mystery, and transhumanism. Let's unwrap this and see what we can learn. The thing about a blind date is you never know what you're going to get. You can be totally your fancy, be into all the things that you're into, and you can just spark. Or maybe someone that, well, you probably wouldn't spend time with anyways. They just don't get you. Your strange hair color and your awkward sense of makeup and fashion. We're all unbound. Now's to get into unwrapping. Just gotta take it slow, right? Like really appreciate it. I wonder what it's gonna look like without its little brown wrapping paper. Brown wrapping paper is pretty subtle. I wonder if it's downplaying the fact that it's actually drop dead gorgeous, or does it have something to hide? Last little bits, and that's it. Oh, it's so exciting. Are you as turned on as I am? Because this is just like really intense. I almost don't want to look. Oh. So, tonight's blind date. Space opera, science fiction, aliens, murder mystery, transhumanism is Peter F. Hamilton's Great North Road. Now, apparently he's one of the most popular authors of space opera in Britain today. Britain's #1 science fiction writer. Now, I'll bring you along for the first chapter. But after that, I'm going to turn the camera off because things are just going to get a little bit private, if you know what I mean. So this one's for Lizzie, Tim, Judith, Alan, for all that quiet support down the years. Cool. Check it out. And got a map and everything. All right. Let's get into this. Sunday, the 13th of January, 2143. As midnight approached, the wild neon colors of the borealis storm came shimmering through the snow, soft snow falling gently across Newcastle upon Tyne. It was as if nature was partying along with the rest of the city, providing a jade and carmine light show far more elegant than any of the fireworks which had been bursting sporadically above the rooftops since Friday. Detective third grade Sidney Hurst watched batches of late-night revelers staggering along the frozen pavement, calling out greetings or challenges depending on how toxed up they were. Ice, snow, and slush played havoc with the smart dust embedded in the tarmac, blacking out whole sections of the metamesh, which governed the city's roads and therefore making driving with his vehicle's smart auto a dangerous gamble. Sid was steering the unmarked police car manually, but with auto managing wheel torque on slippery road. Their snow tires provided reasonable traction, adding to stability and allowing him to make a decent 35 kilometers per hour along Collingwood Street past the cathedral. Radar kept throwing proximity symbols across windscreen. I totally just lost the page. 1 second. Amateur. Radar kept throwing proximity symbols across the windscreen, designating a warning for the long, filthy dunes of snow which the Civic snowplows had thrown off the center of the road. It had been snowing for 2 days now, and with the midday temperature spike sticking stubbornly below 10 degrees, there had been no thaw, allowing the elegant stone Georgian buildings of the city center to become cloaked in Dickensian Yuletide splendor. Another proximity warning flashed scarlet, outlining a man running across the road directly in front of the car, laughing and jeering as Sid veered sharply around him. One last obscene gesture, and he was claimed by the swirling snow. "He'll never last till dawn," Ian Lanigan claimed from the front passenger seat. Sid glanced over at his partner. "Just another 201 file," he agreed. "Welcome back, me. Aye, man, some Sunday night reunion this is." It was crazy so many people being out in this weather, though for once Newcastle's traditional nightclub dress code of t-shirt for the boys and short skirt with glitter heels for the girls had vanished under thick ankle-length coats. It was that cold. He'd even glimpsed a few sensible hats, which was almost the first in the 15 years he'd been with the Newcastle police. Even now, married with 2 kids, a career that wasn't quite as dynamic as he'd originally envisioned, he was slightly surprised he still was in Newcastle. He followed a girl up here from London, where, like every 20-something law graduate, he'd been arrowing down the smart and fast career path, alternating jobs between police and private security as if he were an electron bouncing between junction gates. To consummate the grand romantic gesture, he applied for a transfer to the local city police, where the career track was equally valid for a couple of years, and nights could still be spent in bed with Jacinta, or Jacinta, depending on the pronunciation. Now, 15 years worth of Siberian winters and Saharan summers later, he was still here, married to Jacinta. We're going with Jacinta for now. Which at least showed good judgment, with 2 kids and a career that had long taken the kind of direction he'd always sneered at during those long, distant university years, when he had passion and conviction and contempt for the way of a world screwed up by the current generation in power and the omnipresent, lurking evil of a Xanth. Now, experience and its associate wisdom had flicked him onto the more rational track of time serving and networking to make the final career switch which would see him through the last 20 years before retirement. 15 years of hard labor had taught him real life had a habit of doing that. "They'll all sober up by tomorrow," Sid said, switching his gaze back to the road. "Is this the town?" Ian challenged. "We've all got jobs now." Sid had been as surprised as anyone on Friday morning when Northumberland Interstellar had finally announced they were awarding contracts for 5 new fusion satellites stations to be built at the Ellington Energy Complex north of the city. They should have been built years ago, but such was the way with all the big projects that decade-long delays were built into corporate decisions as standard, and that was before regulations and politicians started to intervene to prove their worth. It meant the aging tokamaks, as Ellington that currently powered the Newcastle gateway to St. Libra, would have to be coaxed along way past their original design lifetime. Nobody cared about that, though, and euphoric Geordies had spent the weekend rejoicing at the announcement. It meant a new surge in the monumental tide of money which already coursed along the city streets, money which was channeled at every corner into St. Libra, to be rewarded by the return flow of indispensable Bioli back to the old mother world. Bioli, which kept cars and lorries moving across Grand Europe's still powerful trade arteries, valuable derivations, allowing planes to fly and ships to voyage. This contract was nothing more than a ripple on that tide, to be sure, but even so it promised additional revenue for the ancient coal town's manufacturing and service industries, which would devour the digital cash with clever greed to fuel runaway expansion curves on the corporate market graphs. That meant there would be job opportunities at every level. Happy times were officially on their way. All right, we have quite a few more pages left in the chapter, folks. This is a very long first chapter. And as much as I'm sure you would love to hear me botching the delivery of this, I'm just going to take my time, I think, and read this chapter to myself. So, if you would like to check out Peter F. Hamilton's Great North Road, that was the first few pages on tonight's blind date with a book. Good night.